All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. We are almost through with our week of events. I am super excited for tonight's event. I know we have a double whammy that we're going to be doing tonight. So I hope you all are able to stay with us for the full time tonight. We will be doing a special session. So I'm looking forward to having fun with all of you all tonight. My name is Marquita Riley. If you have not gotten a chance to get to know me, I am the Student Programs Coordinator for SWE. And thank you so much for joining us for this live learning opportunity, leading from the passenger seat, practicing leadership skills at every level. I will always and forever be indebted and grateful for our wonderful sponsors. Without their generous support of our programs and programs like this, we would not be able to bring this virtual experience right to your homes. So I would like to take this time to thank them: Motorola Solutions, Lockheed Martin, Cisco Technologies, and General Motors. We really appreciate everything you do for us. And again, we're thankful. Go ahead and show them some love in the chat for allowing us to be able to put on this program this evening. A few housekeeping items that I would like to go through before we get to our learning outcomes for this evening is that guys, I am so sorry. Looks like I have a little small issue with there we go. Sorry. So everything's okay. A little small issue with the alarm. So I do apologize for that. A few housekeeping items that I would like to give to you all is to make sure that you are aware that you guys can mute and unmute if you ask any questions throughout the evening. But primarily we'll be answering your questions within the chat. So make sure that you take time to go into the chat. We have at least 5 people tonight that will be supporting you all in that chat with any questions that you have outside of our speaker for the evening. So thank you so much for participating in the chat so far, and we hope to continue to have your activity in the chat tonight. So now let's jump right into what you should learn from this evening. So by the end of this session, you should be able to apply soft skills such as observing, communicating, and listening, and evaluate their impact on establishing and maintaining an organizational culture, intentionally incorporating and model soft skills within an organization, appropriately process and respond to organizational feedback from team leadership and team participants. So right now, I would like to take this time to ask you all to come, excuse me, let me go back really fast. I would like to take the time to go through the poll really quickly. And there are going to be 2 polls. So I'm going to ask you this first question for engagement. Leadership is what to you? Is it exhausting, exciting, a privilege, or scary? All right, looks like everybody says exciting. That's pretty good. Like most of y'all, like about half. Okay, half. Some say a privilege. Few say scary, a few say exhausting. Okay, that's a really good number. So most of you all are feeling like leadership is exciting. That's really good. All right, so I'm gonna jump right into sharing the results really fast, just so you all can see. Most of you all agreed that exciting is how you feel about leadership. A few of you are maybe feel a little exhausted by it, and some feel a little scary, but most of you all feel like it's a privilege and it's exciting. So that's good news. All right, so we're going to get into the next poll. As you can see on the screen, I consider myself a strong interpersonal communicator. So let's see how you all feel about your communication skills. All right, so most of you all agree. Some of you all strongly agree. That's good. That's good. Okay, somewhat agree. All right. I think most of you all have answered the poll. So I'm going to go ahead and share those results. So it looks like you guys are kind of in between on that one. Some of you all agree, and some you really agree. And then there are a few out there that kind of disagree, that you're not as strong of a interpersonal communicator, and that's fine. That's why we're here tonight. We're going to help you build those soft skills. I know throughout the week we've kind of touched on it, tapped on it, that soft skills are important and that you need them, and padding that with your engineering background as you build and develop your STEM identity. But this is also another layer that's super, super important. So tonight is going to explore that very thing. So thank you all so much for participating in the poll. All right. So now we are coming to our main event of the night. I would love for you all to meet an extraordinary, outstanding young lady who's going to provide you so much experience and knowledge that you guys will take away. Don't forget that you have your note-taking handout that you can utilize for this session and all the other ones, just to take down some notes on what you feel are the most important items that you want to take away from this particular session, and maybe some goals that you want to set for yourself, and additional resources that will be provided through this session. So without further ado, I don't need to do too much talking on this wonderful young lady. I'm going to let her take on the show from here. Miss Lanita Hostin, you got it. I'm going to let you have the floor. Have a good one.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and good evening, ladies. I am coming to you from the nation's capital. I live about 5 minutes from the Washington Redskins Stadium. If you have any Redskins fans, well, they changed their name. You can tell I'm not into sports. They're called the National. They're called the. Listen, I don't even know what they're called, but their name has changed. But if you're a fan of them, I think it's called the National Football Team or something like that. You can drop that in the comments. I'm also just curious if you could drop in one adjective on how you're feeling today. How are you feeling? If you could describe that in one word, what would it be? I'm looking for that in the chat. Christina, I see your smiley face. Energized, stoked, interested, pumped, excited. Oh my goodness, you guys are getting me excited, hyped, excited, invested, happy. Oh my gosh. Thrilled, excited, awesome, anxious. Okay, we're gonna get some of that nervous, anxious energy out. I'm ready to learn. Absolutely. Oh, you've come to the right place. It looks like you guys are in the right spot. I just wanted to do that to kind of gauge where you all were. So as was shared, my name is Lanita Hostin, and I simply am a student success strategist. I love working with students. I attended Towson University, where I studied mass communications. And after undergrad, I went off to write several books, become a college professor, travel the country as a professional speaker. And I now help students identify and go after their dream career. So interesting that you all are a part of an organization that's doing just that thing. It's crazy. So it's a great fit tonight. I'm also privileged when I travel to speak is to nurture and develop student leaders, whether that be at the high school level or the collegiate level. And so I myself I was one of those students who was in everything. And so in college, I touched some of everything, and you'll hear about that story tonight. So we don't have much time tonight, and I have so much that I want to cover and so much that I want to hear from you. I want this to be a dialogue and not a monologue. So you'll see there'll be opportunities for us to talk back to each other. And I love the chat box. So you can blow that up. I am monitoring it. I will not overlook your questions, and I will make sure I make time for them. So if you're ready, drop in the chat. I'm ready. I am ready, leading from the passenger seat. Thank you, Lori. Washington football team. Leading from the passenger seat. Okay, I'm ready to jump right in. And so I remember I got this letter in the mail. Welcome to the 2009-2010 Towson University Resident Assistant. I had been selected for one of the most competitive leadership programs on my campus. It was kind of like driving a Corvette to school. Outside of being an SGA and in being in Greek life, if you know, an RA or resident assistant is responsible for creating like a home-based environment for those who live in dormitories, or you can call them on-campus student housing. So I was responsible for creating that environment. And so I remember driving up, my summer was cut short. I went up to training, and we trained for about 3 months. We trained for about, 2.5 months. intermittently. I was a very rigorous program. And so I remember the day my residents came, I had 90 of them. 90 door tags, 90 smiles, 90 hugs, 90 beds to check. And as a part of being an RA, I got my own room. I got my own bathroom. My room was attached to a kitchen that had a stove. It was rusty, had a microwave. It had like a sink, a kitchen area. And so I was so excited to be an RA that I convinced my mom to buy me a futon. She brought me a futon and I had an open door policy. So on Thursday nights, my residents, all 90 of them, would come in. I had a Bluetooth speaker. I'd play music. I loved them. I remember I even made breakfast in bed, and this is a picture of my door as an RA. This is how I decorated my room. The stove was over to the left. I remember I made my residents breakfast in bed. I made pancake, pancake. My mom always says you say it wrong. I made pancakes, sausage, and eggs, and I delivered it to their quad. And right in my pajamas, they got to eat. And so on the next slide, you'll see on Fridays I had free haircuts. On Fridays, I cut hair for free. Now, I don't know how to cut hair. In fact, I didn't own a pair of clippers, but what I did know was that the guys on my floor liked for their hair to be cut. And so they let me do it. I don't know how crazy they were. This is Justin. He let me cut his hair. I was so intentional about how I wanted to engage my students, how I wanted them to feel while they are away from home. I wanted to be like the best RA. It was almost like a pride thing. It made me feel good that I made them have a great experience. Well, if you're ever interested in becoming an RA, this is just a tad bit to you that at the end of the year, RAs are evaluated, and that determines if they get to repeat the role as an RA. And so I remember sitting down having the conversation with my supervisor at the time. And on his desk was my evaluation paper. There was a box, yes and no, at the bottom. And I remember sitting in the seat and I just happened to check down at the boxes and no was checked. And immediately all of these thoughts swam in my head. Was I not good enough? Did I not do enough programming? Was it not creative enough? How do I tell my mom that I just lost about $10,000 worth of scholarship value? I'll have to find a roommate next year. Where will I live? Immediately, all of these thoughts. And while my thoughts were running, my eyes start to swell. And I don't know about you, but I don't like crying in front of other people. I was trying my best to hold it back, and Greg could see that. And he stopped me right in my thoughts and he said, Lanita, you don't have a people problem. Out of all the residents on my staff, and there were 12 of us, you probably are the best at relationship building. You know almost all of our residents by first name basis. So you got that part down pat. And if that's you, if you can relate to that, put yeah in the chat. Yeah, I'm really good at cultivating relationships and community. But he said, you have a team problem. To you, leadership is like, and I remember him adjusting his seat. And he said, leadership is like jumping in the driver's seat, strapping your seatbelt, and you are ready to take the team in the direction that wherever we say we want to go, you're ready to take them there. You're getting there, whatever means necessary. But in this role, we need drivers and passengers. We need people who are also concerned about other people on the team who have an open hand and open ear and supporting them. I need both people in this role. And I'll be honest, at 19, I didn't want to hear that. To me, it was enough to be good at vertical leadership. And that is when you are leading those whom you oversee. And I was really good at that, but I sucked really bad at horizontal leadership. And that is leading amongst those whom you also share the same level of authority with. And in hindsight, when I think back at it, I did suck. I was very opinionated openly. If I didn't like something, you'd know. If I didn't think it was a good idea, you'd know. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it was how I expressed my indifferences. I was also not team-like. We would have extended meetings. I'd cut it short. I have to work. I have this. I have to go do this. And I'd leave. It was about my residents. I was good at vertical leadership. And so as I've been traveling the country to do these kinds of student development opportunities, keynotes, workshops, what have you, my job is really to just challenge students to think about, are you showing up like this dog in the steering wheel? Are you showing up like this dog in the steering wheel where you're like, daggone right, I'm in charge, suckers. If you can take 2 slides over, I'm in charge. You're saying that to yourself, like, yeah, so this is what we're going to do. I'm driving this ship. I'm driving this car, and this is where we're going. That was me. Oh my God, so embarrassing to admit that, but that was me. And so my job today is to get you to think about leadership from the passenger seat. So I want to shift you from the driver's seat, which is where I was, and shift you to the passenger seat. A passenger is simply just someone whom is not driving. Bus, plane, train, car, they're just not driving. And so you may see here in the passenger seat, who's that? Who's that in the passenger seat?
There we go.
So in the passenger seat, I'm there. In the driver's seat is my mom. And we have my dog Nico in the back. Now I'm in the passenger seat because my mom is the worst passenger. Okay, let me tell you about when she's in the passenger seat, she is, you're going too fast. You're braking too soon. You're braking not soon enough. You're too close to the curve. You're too far from the line. You're too close to this car. Slow down. He's stopping in front of you. I could have a heart attack sometimes being in the driver's seat while she's a passenger. So much so that we've just made up in our minds that this will be our posture from here on out. I just let her do the driving. But my mom is such a good example of what it means to be a vigilant passenger. And vigilant is just a fancy way of saying very watchful, very alert. Like you are looking for things that may impede or be endangerment to whatever the goal is. And that is how we must be as leaders. When you are in the passenger seat, and well, let's say you are in the driver's seat, your field of view is limited. When you're driving, if you have your driver's license or your learner's permit, you have your side view mirrors and you have your rear view mirrors. Only but for a short period of time can you really take a look back. But you can't spend too much time there, here, or there. It's quick. While you're in your passenger seat, you have a full range of view. You could turn around. You can look. You can be observant. You can be vigilant. And as leaders, the best leaders, I think, are vigilant. I'll tell you what it looks like when we're not vigilant. We are unknowingly incautious, unknowingly heedless, unknowingly insensitive, unknowingly, like without even realizing it. And it's of no fault of our own, we're just not cognizant. But there's something really valuable about when you take your I'm in charge hat off and shift gears. You have the privilege of being very vigilant to those that you serve. And I remember when I was in undergrad, my first year, my freshman year, my best friend passed away from a car accident. And I went to practice anyway. I was on a step team. I went to practice. Maybe I had heard about his death at the beginning of the day. So practice was starting at 7 p.m. I went to practice and immediately my captain pulled me aside. Now, I didn't tell anyone that my best friend passed away. I'm 2 hours away from home. I didn't post it on Facebook. I don't know how she knew. But she pulled me aside and she said, Lanita, I am so sorry for your loss, but I'm super shocked that you showed up today. How can we be of support to you? My captain was very vigilant. I'll show you, there's something about someone whom is always looking to see that the people that they lead or the people that they love are okay. They're watching for those things. And we're going to talk about some of the ways in which you can do that. But for a brief moment, I want you to kind of talk about amongst yourselves. I'm going to put you into a breakout room. Is how can you be more vigilant even while being virtual? How can you be more vigilant as a leader? Maybe you're not leading an organization just yet. Maybe it's your desire to. Maybe you do lead in Jack and Jill, do some type of community service at your church. How can you be more vigilant? virtually. I want to give you about maybe about 3 minutes. But that's not enough time. I'll give you 4 minutes to break you off in breakout groups. And I want you to think about, how can I be more vigilant, concerned, watchful over those that I lead?
You guys are now going into your breakout rooms now.
Perfect.
All right.
Let's see. Oh,
Everybody's in there except for our team, I think. And Mary, I think, accidentally might have gotten put into a room. So let's make sure she gets moved back.
And Lonnie, I think, is still in the main room, but maybe
Yeah.
Lonnie, you might be away from your computer.
Yeah. Lonnie, if you are by your computer, you'll have to click that you want to join the room that we assigned you in order to go into your breakout room. Hi, Sarah. I'm going to assign you to a room, okay? Got to make sure you click join so that you get into the room as well. There we go.
And Lanita, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. If you want, Marquita, if you make me host,
I'm gonna stop sharing. I was like, baby, I don't know what to do. We've already started, so let's just roll.
I know, and we did. We were able to just keep.
We did it. We rolled, guys. We rolled. I'm so proud of us. And now I can see your beautiful face. You look gorgeous.
Thank
my goodness. Yes. So sorry. Don't know what happened there, but I could not see anything. So I was just trying to like pull it together. I know you were like, where are you going? I need you back on.
No, it's totally fine. The internet at my home actually went out, so I'm on my.
Okay. All righty.
So I'd love to hear maybe from one of you. If you can drop your name in the chat, and I can call on you. Just one way you are thinking about how you can be more vigilant even in this virtual environment. I think that was Sarah first. Sarah Meany. Okay, Sarah, can you unmute yourself and kind of share?
Yeah, so something that our group came up with, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so something that our group came up with was that it doesn't really matter whether you're in a virtual or in person, but you can do it in virtual, is like making sure that everyone is involved and participating, because sometimes the more quiet people have really good ideas that just aren't seen if they're like, not participating as much.
So that's so true. And it's so easy for us to overlook, especially those who may be even quiet too. It's easy for them to fly under the radar in a virtual environment as well, and in person. Awesome. Let's see. Is it Haven? Haviland.
It's Haviland, actually.
Haviland, I apologize. Thank you for correcting me. What did your group discuss?
Mostly our group discussed was talking about making sure that all of our friends and family are okay, because sometimes people assume that they're okay just because they don't say anything. So just making sure that everyone's okay and on the same page is a must.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm glad that you all apply that to the context, not just in a leadership role, but also amongst those that you love. Awesome sauce. So I want to give you 3 practical ways, and I apologize if it seems like I'm moving a little fast, but I want to honor today's time. Ways in which you can be more vigilant. And the first is that you have to become so aware of your nonverbals. And nonverbals are simply the things that your body is communicating on your behalf when you're not speaking. So if I muted myself right now, I am communicating something to you, even if you can't hear what I am audibly saying. So examples of this: do you make eye contact when you're speaking? Do you tend to tilt your head when someone else is speaking to you? Do you feel comfortable in a posture with your arms crossed because maybe you're anemic and you're SHLA often? So you're just like, do you tap your foot as a nervous, like, coping mechanism? You're anticipating what you're thinking, your thoughts. Those are what's happening from your perspective. Do you not make eye contact because it's weird and uncomfortable? But think about how the recipient of your communication feels based off of what you're communicating in your nonverbals. So when I talk about being so aware of your nonverbals, that's why they're important. Because in the realm of communication, we are the communicator, but there's a recipient, and then there's the message that's received. And we're responsible, particularly as leaders, for all three of those transactions. Isn't that crazy? That's a lot of pressure. But one way we can be so, intentional about being vigilant is how we are showing up, our energies, and how our bodies are showing up on our behalf. So that's one way, very practical way in which you can be vigilant. And I want to pull up the slides here so that you can see those. Awareness of body language is such an important soft skill. Yes, it is. And it only gets better with practice. So you actually have to practice that. You have to be cognizant about your body and your posture, not just your I guess, like, if you are making eye contact, but if you're in a virtual environment and you're sluggish, like, all of those things I think are communicating on your behalf. But when we talk about the context of being vigilant, it's really also you being able to, I love this example when my sister was on a dance team, and part of their dance team is that they have practice multiple times out of the week, but she told me that they never start practice on time. And I asked her, how does that impact the organization? Like, how does that impact you all's energy during practice? And she said, well, because we never start on time, people come late and they're ready to go when it's time to go. And so I asked her, well, do you think things would be different if you ended on time and started on time? And she said, yeah, but I don't think people are paying attention to that and the dynamics of the team. And so when we talk about being vigilant, the importance of that is you can see when things are happening and they shouldn't be. Another form of vigilance is developing your listening skills. The whole intent of listening is to understand. We listen to understand. We listen to understand, not to respond. So when someone is sharing something with us, when we're getting feedback, when we're in dialogue, we're listening to understand the context of their perception, their opinion, even if we don't agree. But it's not to respond, it's to understand. And so when we talk about being vigilant, when you are getting feedback from someone or you're in dialogue with someone, they're sharing their feelings, their thoughts. Again, their perception is their reality. And so we're listening. So that active listening is a really big part of also being vigilant as well. And the last thing I want to share is that if you're in some type of organization, that you have to be responsible for developing or building in observation time. So you're like intentional about when you're going to take a back seat and watch over the energy and the momentum of your group. And so very practical ways, listening, being aware of how you are communicating, are sometimes barriers to us not being vigilant. But they're so easy to practice for us to be. I posted this on Facebook last year when I was traveling to a student leadership conference in Texas. Finish this sentence using one word: great leaders are. And I told my Facebook family that I would be sharing this with students. Now, this is what they said. This is just a few of them that I pulled. Relatable, empowering, made, great listeners, teachable, problem solvers, fearless, compassionate, listeners, servants, accountable. You can read them all. None of them are hard skills. Hard skills are your ability to format a budget, your ability to run social media, your ability to recruit people on the team, get them to stay, your ability to be creative and icebreakers. Those are hard skills. Soft skills, which are everything that they listed here, is your ability to be observant, your ability to be compassionate, your ability to be relatable, to understand, to be all of the things that we that sometimes when we see other people displaying these characteristics, we usually say, oh man, they are so, I love to be around them. Those are usually soft skills that you see inside of the person. They're thoughtful, they're intentional, they're encouraging, they're very positive. And so about 200 people responded to this post, and it just reminded me that the value in leadership is not the hard stuff. The hard skill is the actual, like, you being able to do something really great. It's the soft skill of you being able to interact with others positively, to negotiate or to get through conflict or difficult times with ease. That is what makes you a powerful leader. And so I wanted to impress upon you while we're in the passenger seat. See, it's in the driver's seat that you're displaying hard skills. You're driving, you're avoiding accidents, hopefully. You're navigating, you're trying to get to your destination. It's in the passenger seat that you have the privilege of and putting into play those soft skills. The other thing about the passenger seat, that there is nothing obstructing your hands. There's no steering wheel. There's nothing obstructing your legs. You are free to move. You're free to be of value and help to others. And that is why I love the analogy of the passenger seat. I also love cars, by the way. I'm a car girl. So I had to throw that in there. So listen, for the sake of time, I wanted to give you two things. The other thing outside of being vigilant is that great leaders ask questions. And they don't have to be a great question, but they ask questions. And here's why. Great questions, or when we ask questions, they prompt you to develop even better solutions. So you kind of take off your ego hat, like, ego means, a feeling of high self-worth, and you should have that. But you should also be, cognizant of other self-worth as well. Great leaders also ask questions because questions evoke critical thinking and creativity. So when we ask questions, we are literally involving other people inside of our creative realm. And we ask questions because they create an inclusive community. And so tonight, I actually want you to ask a question. I want you to send this text message to two people, one person that you love and one person that you work with in any capacity. Hey, I'm attending a virtual leadership event tonight, and we're learning how important it is to ask questions. I have a question for you, and I want your honest feedback. I want you to send this text message, and the next sentence is up to you. How can I be a better big sister? How can I be a better leader? How can I be a better member? How can I be a better daughter? Or what is it that I can do differently this year to make blank better? I want you to be intentional about who you're asking. And I do want you to send this text message, and I want to see if you guys get any feedback. So I'm going to play a few music. And I want you to send out the text message to at least two people. And once you get a response, I want you to type in the chat box, I got a response. So I see that we are definitely running low on time. And I want to jump to our opportunities to ask questions. And so I'm going to move a little fast, but as you are getting your responses back, totally fine. If you want to run them, I'll come out of stop share so you can see me. I'll totally answer them or respond to the text message that you've just sent. Okay. So I'll take your questions at this time. Sorry, we're moving a little fast. Any questions tonight about vigilance? About, you guys are probably sending your text message. You're like, wait a minute, I don't have questions because I'm trying. Okay, I'll wait. Yes, I can. I will send it in the chat so you can copy. Let me copy and paste it on the slide, and I will send it to you. And so while we're waiting, I know if your mind is on the text message and not on what I was trying to say next, I'll say this: as you're getting the feedback, the goal is active listening. We talked about this. I just sent the template. So it's to hear what the recipient or what you are, is to hear what that individual is saying, not to respond or to be defensive, but to actually hear them and their concerns, and you process that. and then you have a response. We got to respond though. But to take their feedback and digest it, sometimes when we solicit the feedback of others, it's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable, but I wanted to challenge you that sometimes in our state of uncomfort, we are able to become better. So Marquita, I know we have met our time. I'm going to turn it over to you to kind of give me some guidance to see where you'd like to go from here. Awesome.
Oh, Marquita, you're on mute.
Wow, just all fun technical things happening tonight. So sorry. So I am going to go ahead and have us move a little bit quicker than expected. I do apologize for that. We do have to move to our next session for this evening. So what I'm going to have you all do is ask your questions in the chat, and Lanita can answer them along with our team that is also responsible for moderating the chat as well. So go ahead and ask those questions that you have, and for the next 2 to 3 minutes, they'll go ahead and respond to those questions, and I'm going to go ahead and move forward with the session to close. Lanita, do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with the students?
I'm on mute. I saw it. I wanted to say thank you, and I see Ayana's question about how do you respond when a co-leader tries to change everything. Try to find middle ground and being okay with taking the passenger seat to some others' ideas. Sometimes share the vehicle, and remind them of the goal. What's the end goal? Always go back to the goal. What is our goal? And if we are already accomplishing that with our current strategy, then how can it be better? And that would be my response to you, Ayana.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a wonderful note to leave on. First, I want to go ahead and send out a special thank you to our speaker, Lanita Hostin, and I do have her contact information on the screen. She can be contacted directly if you want to follow up on those questions that you sent out via text, just to let her know what the follow-up was. If anybody did respond or what happened from there, feel free to contact her directly, or you can always email us at swenext@swe.org, as I always say. So just know that those options are out there for you. Again, I want to thank everyone for joining us for this the SHLA live learning opportunity, leading from the passenger seat, practicing skills at leadership skills at every level with Lanita Hostin. I really, really appreciate you for taking us down a journey of understanding our soft skills and how to build upon that. Again, it's super, super important. From a former RA / RD to another former RA, I totally understand the importance of growth and understanding the importance of being a team player and knowing how to talk and respond and listen actively and engage with other people and build relationships from there. So definitely great points that you made tonight. My biggest thing that I have ringing off in my head right now is be vigilant, and then all of those items of how you can be vigilant. Again, can't get away from those dogs in the seat telling you where to go and having mom driving. Those are awesome takeaways for me personally. So thank you for sharing that with us tonight. Again, I want to thank our sponsors. Without their generous support of this program, this wouldn't be possible, and we wouldn't be coming to you live virtually. So once again, thank you to Motorola Solutions Foundation, Lockheed Martin, General Motors, and Cisco Technologies. We really, really appreciate everything you do for us for our SHLA program. If you guys, again, have any additional questions, feel free to email us at swenext@swe.org. I know some of you all are already getting those questions questions answered within the chat, which is awesome. Again, you have your note-taking handout that you all received in the beginning of the session, and it's also available in the classroom. Don't be afraid to interact within the classroom, but I know you now have other resources. Make sure you look in the chat. We did provide you a contact list as well as the Discord chat that you guys have access to for all you fellow Sheilas to engage there as well. Don't forget you have the music playlist that you can add your songs to. I know we are wrapping up, so we are getting close to the close of this program, and I'm so sad because it's been such a great journey for each and every one of us. I'm sure you're like me, just uber excited and thankful for all of the sharing of experiences and knowledge that we've learned since the beginning of the sessions. And I'm really appreciative and gonna be sad when we have to come to a close, but I think this has been an awesome experience thus far, and I hope you guys feel the same. Drop that line in the chat. Let me know what your thoughts are, your final thoughts are. But again, I thank you all for attending this session, and I will look forward to seeing you all in the next session this evening. Just so you have an idea of what's to come, we will be having our final networking with Sheila session tomorrow evening, reflection and recap with Mary Zeiss. So don't forget to join us at 6 p.m. And then we're going to be taking a little bit of a break, and we'll come back with our final graduation, our Sheila graduation ceremony on November 12th. And on that same day, for our SWENEXT Award winners for Week 20, you guys will be participating in a pizza party. So don't forget those things are coming up for you. We look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you all for coming to this session, and I'll see you in the next one after this one. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.